Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Good Morning Soul. And there is an expression that you've probably heard before that is, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And obviously that is the case because I've practically done that before, and talking about motion pictures and stuff like that, there's so many things to analyze and say about them. And it's like there's not enough time in the world to really dissect everything. But we've seen so many wonderful pieces of you can tell I'm laughing. There's so many pictures and wonderful images out there to dissect, and I wouldn't mind having a series where I do that, but because it's all art, and the origin of art is like when people think art, they think like paintings. They think of painters and stuff like that. And today I wanted to talk about a selection of art pieces of images, and that is the Pokemon Go loading screens. And I know that none of you care about Pokemon Go, and I know that nobody gives a shit, but something that they've done with the Pokemon games, or I should say the Pokemon Go game, is when the game blew up, obviously everyone, the image of like a character walking on this kind of like, what is it, a pier kind of, with this Gyarados poking out of the water, it became like an iconic image. And as time has gone on, the Pokemon Go has, over time, every couple of months or so, they'll give us a new loading screen. And the new loading screen usually reflects what is going on, like, hype-wise within the game. For instance, when Gen 3 dropped, we got, like, a bunch of, like, at first when Gen 3 dropped, it was just a couple, like, Halloween-themed Pokemon, so ghost types, and it came around Halloween time, and it was a very Halloween-esque loading screen. And then when raids were introduced, we had, like, a raid screen. When baby Pokemon, like Togepi and Pichu, were introduced, we had a loading screen for them. The current one is a little out of date because it's March, and the loading screen is like, oh, 2018! Like, it's a little weird, but I wanted to really dissect these images. The first one, which I have a page pulled up here, Pokemon Go, like, on their website, has this, like, whole page dedicated to their loading screens, and it's kind of giving you, like, they have this one of the Steelix, and it's giving you, like, a rough idea of what they go through when making these, and yada, yada, yada. Fascinating stuff. And then they have all of them at the bottom here. It's very sexy. The first one is of a character walking by, and, me being a person who was playing this game at the beach, was playing, like, at piers, like, the idea of, like, the image relating to that was great, because I was like, oh, here are places I'm actually walking, and this idea of a Gyarados, I've only seen, like, one Gyarados in the wild, but, like, the idea that this monster Pokemon could appear at any moment was crazy to me. It was a crazy idea, and the image for this one, like, I love, like, the big exclamation point. I love how it tells you, oh, be aware of your surroundings, and it's like not only informing you that, but it's also to say, like, it's like saying two different things in one. I really like that, where it's like, oh, be aware of your surroundings, but like a Pokemon could appear at any time. Like, it's saying to look up and not get hit by a car, but at the same time, it's doing that via a Gyarados. And I know that there was like a bunch of like I saw like I think I was on Etsy or somewhere. It was like a Gyarados themed whatever the fuck, and it didn't say Gyarados. It just said Pokemon Go water snake screen or something like that. And I was like, how is this Pokemon that's been around for like decades? Like, now it's just being referred to as like the Pokemon Go loading screen guy. And I remember when this game was popping, like, people were talking about, like, it was like giving Gyarados this whole new like perspective to be on the loading screen, because people were literally just referring to it as like the thing on the loading screen. like, oh, if you get all these Magikarps, you can get that like big thing on the loading screen. I was like, that's fucking Gyarados. And people were like, Gyarados? Gyarados, Jesus Christ, it's been around for decades. Why is but yeah, it's a very, all of these images, like, at first they were just kind of doing simple, sweet, simple and clean, you know, Kingdom Hearts. Nowadays the loading screens are like, if anything, trying to fit like a bunch of different shit and put like little Easter eggs in their loading screens. But the next one was, again, this one came around, I think, Halloween time. It is of a Gengar kind of like in this weird forest thing. Like, it's like in some kind of weird dark forest with another trainer, you know, looking down at his phone, with this like very contrasting green road with a pathway with like this, I don't even know what that is in the background. It looks like signs or something, I don't know. But Gengar to get that spotlight, and I know like this is when like Gengar, like Ghastly, was all over the place, so it was like, and I didn't have a Gengar at this point in time, so like it was like hyping me up to get Gengar. Finally got him. I don't think I've ever seen Gengar in the wild. I only have evolved him. I don't even know how much I have. Hold on, I get it right here. I have 2 Gengars. So I mean, that's because I'm like evolving them for XP. I could have like more than that, but I only got 2 Gengars. But Gengar is a sexy ass Pokemon. He's top tier, amazing. I would love to do a character study of him. But this is one of my favorite loading screens. The way Gengar like is illuminated with his eyes just peering, it's somehow giving like this very dark image with this very bright, colorful image, which is not easy to do. And then the next one is the Christmas themed one. This is probably my least favorite one because we got this like Pokemon Go, like the not the logo, but the like Pokestop symbol. And it's being lit up with Christmas lights, and Pikachu, Clefable, Snorlax, an Eevee, a Squirtle, they're all like, and they're putting up the lights, and there's a little ladder, and then the trainer is just kind of in the background. It's a very kind of shoehorned in like Christmas thing, and Pikachu looks like fat Pikachu, you know how he did back in the day, but he just looks like, his face looks very like fake. The way he's jumping, his proportions, it just looks and the way like the shadow is going like on his left leg here, like it doesn't, like he's supposed to be lit up, and the way, and the joke here is like, oh, he's like electrocuting the lights to light up the sign, and then it's like this big surprise. There's like a little story going on in the image, and then Clefable is like obviously like, oh shit, why'd you light that up, Pikachu? And then Squirtle and Eevee are at the bottom, like, yeah. And then Snorlax, another top tier Pokemon, is just kind of in the background, like, ooh. He's holding up the ladder. Like, it's a cool concept, but just Pikachu looks really ugly. Like, he's got this Santa hat thing on, which at the time, that's when Pikachu with the Santa hat was first being released. It's just a little kind of ugly compared to the other ones. But the next one is another beautiful one, and this is I think this was coming out on New Year's, and the image they got here, I'm glad they quickly replaced the Christmas themed one. This is when baby Pokemon were introduced, so the first signs of Gen 2 were Togepi, Pichu, Cleffa, Igglybuff, Elekid, which were just appearing in eggs. And so they have all of these Pokemon literally just, I think that's a snowbank, is some kind of white grassy plain. And they're just watching these fireworks with the city in the background. And the way these fireworks would just light up your screen, like, it's so colorful and so like majestic. We got so much purple. It looks like a Photoshop filtered masterpiece. It's great. I love this one. It's also simple, to the point. I love it. The next one is another favorite of mine, only because of like the colors and the design. There wasn't much going on at this point. You know, Gen 2 dropped, like all of Gen 2 dropped at once. And the image is Steelix, a Gen 2 Pokemon, and it is just erupting from the ground with a trainer and a Pokestop in the background. This one's very sleek. I love the ones that really light up the screen when you just click that app and it's like instant like art. The way the clouds are in the background, like it's supposed to be a very simple, like if anything not even finished design. So like the clouds just feel like background, like floaty greatness, and the character, is just a black silhouette. They're all just black silhouettes. And this one, the way like the Steelix's shadow is on the character, but at the same time all this green, all this bright colors, it's and I remember seeing this, when winter was finally leaving. It was just like, finally a like bright, like let's get out there, let's hunt some Pokemon in this bright colorful way. So that's definitely another favorite of mine. The next one, they're also great. The Tyranitar. This is when raids were introduced. Raids being where at gyms every once in a while a raid Pokemon will be there, and you just get a group of players and you take down the raid boss and get the opportunity to catch it. And at the time, Tyranitar was the only like worthy raid boss, because everyone had all the other Pokemons that were in raid bosses, and Tyranitar was like level 4, so it was the only Pokemon out of the bunch that you would need like a bunch of players. And I remember being at a raid one time, and a guy walked up to me just telling me about how he would go around town like catching Tyranitars. He's like, I got like 6 Tyranitars or something like that. And this was back when nobody had a Tyranitar, and I was just like, man, that's so cool. And we also got a lot of other, like we got Cyndaquil, we got Sneasel in here, we got Hoppip, we got a Squirtle and a Pikachu, and they're all in this stadium format because the raids like are supposed to be stadium themed. Like they all, like I would prefer if it was kind of like, whoa, look at this Pokemon in this crazy environment, but like they kind of need to do a generic backdrop for all of it, so a stadium. It's cool. It's just and I like the way that all their attacks, like the Bubble, the Thunderbolt, Sneasel's little Ice Ray thing, whatever that is. I don't even know what Hoppip's doing in the background. The way the silhouettes are all like attacking it and being like, whoa, it's all, I love it. The only thing about this image, and I remember going to raids and people being like, this image makes no sense. If you're going to a motherfucking Tyranitar raid, why are you pulling out a Sneasel, a Cyndaquil? Why are you bringing out all these like crap Pokemon? Like a Cyndaquil is just gonna get destroyed and one-shotted by a Tyranitar. Thunderbolt doesn't even do anything, and in this image it's acting like it's like this big move. I like the idea, but it's like we really should have just had better Pokemon to fight this thing. But yeah, it's a very sexy image. There's like this ray of color and energy like being heightened on Tyranitar. I really love that. Like it's making Tyranitar, like it's bringing another perspective to Tyranitar, which making him look like this big epic kind of boss. And not only that, just like this guy that you take down. I really like that idea. And like in this image, like he's just standing like 100 feet tall over all these baby Pokemon. Great stuff. The next image, this is the Gen 3 Halloween themed one. We got Sableye, we got Dusclops, we got Murkrow, we got Duskull, we got Banette, and we got Shuppet. And this was like the first time we saw all these Pokemon. And it was the first time, like, I remember this is when shiny Duskull was a big thing. It's when I got mine. And basically this image is like all these ghost Pokemon standing on this like Halloween town themed hill with this giant moon in the background, and then underneath this hill is just like a bunch of pumpkins that are all scattered about with their vines and thorns very creepily and eerily growing out of them, and there's this little Caterpie on top of one of the pumpkins. It's great. And then the character is wearing the Mimikyu hat, which you can actually get in game. You know, again, they're really incorporating a lot of what's happening in the game. And he's just standing within this pumpkin field, and his like phone, the way it's lighting up onto his jacket. Like, I love the way that looks. And I've noticed a lot of these, like the Tyranitar one, the Christmas one, they're really trying to balance like which ones for the silhouettes are going to be female and male. This one is male, and then the next one after this is going to be female. So they're really trying to even it out, like give both genders. And a lot of girls play Pokemon Go. Like at Raid, it's like 50-50. So I think that's just them being dedicated, or not dedicated, but like, you know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, the next one is another Christmas themed one, because at this point in time, a year has passed in Pokemon Go. And by now, the early work of Gen 3. Gen 3 launched in waves, and in this one, we got Kirlia, we got Delcatty and Skitty, Ralts, Plusle, Minun, Spheal, a bunch of Seedot, a Beautifly, another Seedot, a bunch of Seedots just chilling on this Christmas tree. This one's literally just a Seagull. It's literally just a Christmas tree being put together by a bunch of Pokemon. And then there's like, at the forefront of the screen, we got the Spheal, Plusle, Minun, Mudkip, which are all just like, I think, revolving around these presents with like this little light up present that's like buried in the snow. And meanwhile, a trainer is just very silhouette-y, like creepily in the background. This one is alright, not as great as some of the other ones. The color on this one just doesn't like pop like the greens. Like all the color in this one is coming from this Christmas tree and the like this gold, whatever this golden glow is coming from around these presents. It's alright, like just seeing the Pokemon react with these happy faces, you know, it's a cool image, just not my favorite. I like the seagull in the background. And the last one, which is the current one, which is another alright one. This one is 2018. And in this one, we got at the forefront a Pikachu, Torchic, and Wurmple. Wurmple with this little party hat on, very adorable. We got the trainer in the background. Next to him is a Larvitar and Trico, Azumarill, Wynot, Slackus, Mudkip, Furret, Melodic, Loudred, and a Bulbasaur, all scattered about this like giant 2018 sign. So the words 2018 are like a physical thing standing on top of this stage, and then there's like this reflective floor. I like the reflective floor. I like the shadows from the Pokemon on the floor. I like the streamers. I like the confetti going everywhere. I like the color from the firework explosions in the background. The only thing is, one, Pikachu looks kind of gross again. Like, not gross. He just looks very plain and very, like, morphed weird. Torchic is boring. There's this weird shadow in the front that I don't know what that's coming from. Like, it's literally the right hand bottom corner is just, I don't know what that's being used for. Like, Furret and Larvitar don't need to be in here, because at this point, like, we're trying to focus on Gen 3. And then, like, these other Pokemon, like, Melodic looks weird in the background. It looks misplaced, and it's not like it should be under the 2018 sign, like, maybe just poking out. Like, the way it's standing is kind of weird. Loudred I like. Bulbasaur is alright. The way Slackus and all of them are, like, within the 2018 sign, that looks alright. The way Furret is kind of in the 8, poking its head out, is kind of weird. It kind of looks like it's just drawn onto the thing. It doesn't look like it's a part of it. But, yeah. And damn, I've been going for like 20 minutes. That was my thoughts on all the so far Pokemon Go loading screens. And by the time you're watching this, there's probably been 2 or 3 more. So maybe I'll make another one of these when there's a whole new batch. But anyway, if you guys want me to dissect some more images, I found that extremely interesting. So let me know. I'll see you tomorrow with another episode of Good Morning Soul. And I'm really trying to rush this because I didn't think I was recording for that long. But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And with that, I leave you.